Hello, this is my part 1 for Advanced Software Engineering. So if I go do my unit tests, it says it's still there. This is for parsing one line of code. So we enter a new canvas, we enter a new parser with using the new canvas entered. We then tell it to parse a line of text, move to 200, 100. It will then check to see if they're the same as the x and y value stored in the canvas class. This test is for doing that, but for multiple lines. So we'll add in a test program, let's say, or test multiple lines of code. We then move around the canvas and we'll check to see whether it's the same as the last two parameters. This is for filling, so we want to fill a shape. So what we'll do is we'll enter back in the canvas in the parameter parser. We'll then say that the parser boolean is set to false. We want to turn it on with the command fill on, and we'll check to see if that's happened by checking true is the same as the fill state, which should be true. We turn it on here. This is reset. This one we want to reset our x and y position. So we'll move, round them up, and then we'll reset it, and we'll say if 0 is equal to x and y, then it's this pass test. And this is where we start going to error handling. So this is for unknown commands. If a command isn't recognized by the parser, it'll output this message at the line number, and we'll see if it's true to the error message stored here. This is for invalid parameters. So if we have a correct command, but the parameters are in the incorrect format, we'll say input string is incorrect. Outbound parameters, this is when our parameters is the correct format, but they're outside the permitted bounds. So let's say it's going off the map, or it's not drawing onto the map, or onto the bitmap, sorry. Then we'll say, please enter within the certain parameters. And this is the same, but with the right amount of pen size. So we don't want it too small, and we don't want it too big. So yeah, I'll run these for you. If I end the program, if I run it again, you'll see that these pass. There you go. Okay, what's the next part? Yep. I haven't done part 2 test, and I've commented each test with the correct commenting style. I'll explain the UI, and I'll show you all this. Yep. There we go. Okay. So if I go to tip, so I'll go here, move 200, 100, move, and we'll draw to 200, 200. It'll draw from 100, 100, and it'll draw to 200, 200. We can then say circle 10, square 20, rectangle 30, 50. Oh, rect 30, 50. We can then do try 100, 200, 300, 400. It'll draw a triangle. Or we can then clear it and reset back to 0, 0. We can then turn fill on, and we can do circle 10. And then we can say fill off, and we can change the pen color to red, and we can say circle 20. We can say blue, circle 30. We can say yellow, circle 50. Then we can say green, rect 50, 100. And we can do try, do the same as last time, but from a different point. And there you go. I'll go up here and start saving, and I'll clear it again. So if I type, I'll clear it here and reset, and then I'll do circle 10, move to 100, 100, oh sorry, 100, 200, and that can draw back to 100, 100. That can go black, circle 10, or circle 20. We'll save it and we'll run it, and then we'll load it back in again, and we'll change this back to blue, run it again, and this is back to blue, and the line's back to black again. So yeah, that should be everything there. Yep. And now I can explain the code to you. So here's all the classes involved with part 1. We have canvas class, which is, it will store all of the methods for drawing onto the canvas. So we have draw line, move to, draw, circle, fill, and then we have square, rectangle, and then triangle, which uses points. So the first 2 points of here will be the current position on the bitmap, and then the user will enter in 2 extra points, 4 parameters, which will be 2 points, and then it'll draw the triangle. The each shape also has a fill method with it. So we have fill polygon, it's fill triangle, we have fill rectangle, fill square, fill rectangle again, and we have fill ellipse, which is obviously fill circle. And then we have down here clear panel, which will just clear it to the color white. We'll have a reset, which will change the X position and the Y position to 0. And then we have change, which will change all the colors for us. And then we have change pen size, which will change the width of our pen. If I go to the constructor, this is what will be used for drawing. This is for used for testing. This is it will make our X position start at 0, top left corner. It will change our pen to the color black and the width 1, and our brush to be a solid brush and the color will be black. These variables are public, so we can use it in our tests as well. If I go to my parser class now, you'll be able to see our parser. If I move it there, we go. So here's all our public stuff. We have fill state, which is our boolean for fill-in, or to toggle our fill. We have our error message, which is will hold the error that's being caused. Public lines, which is how many lines of code it's going to be for our parser.command box. And then we have the line number, which is also used. So when we have our errors, we're able to see what line number is on. So if I go to our constructor, we'll be able to see here that it starts the line number at 1, because if you enter a command into it, it will have 1 line. It sets the canvas being used, and it sets the fill state to false, so you start with the fill off. The error message sets to nothing because there's no errors when you start. So we enter the command and enter the line of the line of text. Sorry. We will then create a string for the command, which will be the first part of the split when we split it, and this will be held here, and the parameter will be the second part here. So when we have the line of code, we'll then split it by the space. So if you have, say, circle, I do here, so you have circle 10, this would be the command, and this would be the parameter. So we'll split it. The first part of the first element of the split array will be the command. So this will be the command, and then if the split length is 1, so there's only 1 element in it, we know that it's just all the commands. It'll work through all the commands possible, clear, reset, and so on. Once we get through all them, we'll know that anything else that's only 1 word and no parameters is not an actual command allowed and will be unknown. So we'll throw an exception that I've made, as well as the line number that's on when we're using more than 1 line. Catch is, what am I talking about? It'll catch, this is all in a try as well, so it'll try all these. If any of these are wrong, then it will catch it here. If the split's length is more than 1, we know that there's at least 1 parameter involved. So the parameter is the first split, and we'll split that on the by the comma. So again, if I go here, if I type in move to 200, 200, we can see there that split to, that's the command that's already been established. These are parameters, and we know there's two parameters because it's split by the comma, and there's two things either side. So it'll create a new integer based on the parameter's length. So if the parameter's length once split is, let's say, 2, as it is here, it'll create a new integer array with the length 2, or the size 2. So for each time, let's go back to our example, if our integer is 2, this will loop twice, and it will change all of our all of our parameters into integers so they can be used within our parameter, in our parser, sorry. If it cannot be changed to our into our integer value, it will be catched as a format exception and it'll be errored out. And then this is when we have one parameter, so we have square 25, circle 10. We will try all these, and if this is for circle, this is for square, and this is for pen size for one parameter. Within this shapes, it'll be if the parameter given is below or equal to 100, or the parameter is over 400, well then it will output they'll throw a new exception saying please keep it above that. I'll error out. It'll also check if the fill state's true. If it's true, it'll fill in the shape. If it's not, it will draw the shape rather than fill it. Same with square. The pen size, it'll just change the pen size depending on the parameter value. And here again, it'll check, see if it's between 0 and 20. If none of these are recognized, it'll say again unknown error, unknown command entered. This is for two parameters, as I said, for like move to or rect or try. This is actually rect. Draw to, so on. So it'll check between the parameters and throw a new exception if it's not allowed. And then this is again, it checks unknown commands. This is for triangles. So it uses 4 parameters rather than 2. And it throws an exception if it's not in between 400 and 0. And then this is the last part of our parser sorting. So if there's if the parameter length is 3 or it's 5 or above, we know that it's not a allowed command because there isn't any commands with that amount of parameters. So we know that it's wrong, and it will throw another unknown command entered. This method is who's that? This parameter is this parameter is for multiple lines of code. So it will do the same as parameter command line, but it'll trim it, change down to 1 as before. But the program lines is an array, and it will hold the amount of lines that is entered into the command line, command bot, and then again it will pass the amount of lines depending on how many lines there are, and for each time it loops around here, it will increase the number by 1. So for each line that's processed, the amount of numbers, line number will be increased by 1. So when we have the errors, we know which line the errors are on. And yeah, that's it. I'll go to my window class. This is when we want to add our parts to our form UI. It's like our panel and our text box. This is when we want to make sure that our graphics will be put onto our bitmap. This canvas is saying that we want to make all our canvas change we put onto the bitmap here. Our bitmap stored here with the values here. Draw panel. This is when we want to. This is like when we add our graphics here. It will use the paint event args. So we'll say our graphics is equals this graphics, and then this graphics will draw onto the bitmap at the top left of our form, and it'll obviously cover the entire form, cover the entire panel because that's that graphic, that dimensions. Save button is where we take our command box and we put it into a string called text, and that text will be put into a text file called save.txt in the directory of our program. And then the load will take that string, save.txt, and will put into another string called load text, and the command box will put that load text back into the command box. Run runs the command box for multiple lines, and the error label will show any errors that have been outputted by, or any errors thrown by the program. And refresh will refresh any drawings on the panel. So once you've passed all the commands, it will then refresh them, and it will change the command box back to nothing, because you've already entered one into the program. This is for when we want to use the command line, and it will do the same as the command box, apart from instead of hitting run, it will be used by hitting enter, like that. I think that's everything. I don't think I showed you my errors showing up on the form. I'll do that now quickly. So if I do this, error message pops up. If I do move 200 ASD, incorrect format. If I do pen size 210, won't work. If I do there's one more I need to do. I can't think off my head. Oh no, it's unknown command, I think. It'll say that. That should be it, I think. Oh no, this one, my bad. If I do move to 500, 500, or move to -1, 500. Oh. It'll say that it's not allowed, so there we go. I'll show you my comments, there they are, and hopefully you found that helpful.